guys, happy Friday. We're here with another Flexy Friday, and I wanted to speak to you about the T-spine. So that's the top back, the thoracic spine, so obviously that's what the T is for, and it tends to get quite locked up, not even just from training, but just from general use. We're obviously sitting a lot of our time sitting at desks or chairs, and we've got this slouch that happens. So this rounded part of our back, that actually tends to really lock up the spine, and we don't really want that. We want this really nice, obviously, upright back. So obviously we get really tired from training. That tends to obviously take strain. We sit at a desk for hours at a day like this. That would make it take strain. So we're here now today to say, how can we help that? What ideally you need is anything that you can elevate yourself on. So there's two ways that we're going to do this, depending on obviously your mobility and your starting point. Ideally some weight would be great behind your head, but it's not absolutely essential. Even if you just have something to hook your hands under, like a chair or something like that, that would be great as well. But you don't need anything to definitely feel something in the stretch, but you definitely need to elevate your back in some way. So we start off with our T-spine on whatever we're elevating ourselves with. So for this very point in time, I've got a foam roller. We want to have our hands over our head, and we want to send our hips up to the sky. From there onwards, this is where the counterweight would be great, to make sure that our hands don't move up as our hips drop. But as I said, no stress indeedy. So hands overhead, hips up, and slowly but surely I'm going to keep my whole rib cage tucked, and I'm going to drop my entire rib cage down to the floor. I don't just want to unhinge and stick my butt back. I want to make sure that everything stays back and everything drops together. I keep my head up, I keep my hands down, and I mean, I don't really feel anything in the stretch right now, but I need to elevate myself a little bit more than that. But you get the idea of, we want to make sure that in this position we don't just stick our butt back and make sure that everything goes into the lower back. We want to make sure, just so that you're seeing this, we're not sticking our butt back, we're tucking in our rib cage, and we're sending everything back together. Okay, I'll show you again. Hands up, hips up, everything nice and tucked. So tucked rib cage, untucked rib cage, tucked rib cage, untucked rib cage, tucked rib cage, tucked rib cage. As we go down, head stays up, and there's a nice T-spine stretch here where I can hold. From there onwards, if you're on the slightly more flexible side, you can then obviously elevate yourself even more. So this is where a bench comes in, a higher chair, whatever the case may be. You want to think about doing the exact same thing, but now you've got more range of motion to go down. It's slightly harder because now suddenly this is a bit thicker, so it's a little bit on the sore side, but you can always use a mat or do whatever you want. I'm just not going to faff too much with that. So the exact same thing, I want my T-spine, so the upper back where my shoulder blades are, to be on whatever I'm elevating myself with. Hips obviously off, to allow myself to drop. Okay, so same thing applies. You just got to shimmy yourself into the right place. I think about tucking my rib cage, keeping my hands low, keeping my head up, slowly dropping everything down, and making sure that I'm not just slumping here. I've kept it tucked, and I'm dropping it down in a nice controlled fashion. Very graceful exit. So very nice two ways, guys, especially in this way. I would definitely recommend keeping your hands down with a weight or a bumper plate is great for this variation, just because it allows you to keep lower. A kettlebell, you sort of end up holding or hanging onto the kettlebell in sort of mid-air, and you don't really feel like you can relax too much. But it gives you a good variation as to where you are and how your mobility can be released in these nice 2 stretches. So it's basically the same stretch, it's pretty much just basic and more advanced, and it's one of my favorite stretches to do for the T-spine. I mean, you can definitely feel it, and it's got a great carryover to all of our shoulder to overhead movements, our overhead squats. I mean, we definitely need the T-spine to be nice and ready for that. And yeah, it's a really great stretch to get into the upper back, which we're always using, we're always working, and it makes sense to just take care of it. Okay guys, happy Friday, bye.